I mean, I guess here we go. Let's do this thing. Let's make a plate. That simple. Start off, need to wet the bat just a little bit. Just needs to be damp so that the clay will stick to it. But if it's too wet, the clay will slide around. Okay. That'll come into play later. Let's get this clay centered. So for my plates, I use 5 pounds of clay. And after everything's all said and done, being fired and everything, they will be about 10 inches. Gotta cone the clay. This helps to center the clay a little bit easier. And it gets the clay particles going all in the same direction, so usually helps you to throw a little easier. So I wedged my clay up yesterday, so it's been sitting just waiting, so I'm going to do this a couple times to get the clay moving again. What I do here, what you're gonna do here is you're gonna push. Oh, whoa, whoa. Should have stuck down. I don't know why I didn't stick. That's the whole point of you. You're supposed to stick my bat down. Add a little bit of water, I guess. That should get it to stick really well. At least we are still just centering. I'm gonna pick up where we left off. I'm gonna push the top of the clay towards you and then push down with my top hand using my palm of my hand. Pushing towards you helps the clay to distribute down at the bottom when I push down rather than just pushing the top down. So it causes the clay to push down and form down there rather than up here at the top. This clay feels like it's ready to move and it's decently centered. So for plates, it's not the end of the world if they're not exactly centered. I cheat a little bit to make my plates. I feel like it's just not the usual way of making plates. I think a lot of people make plates this way, but traditionally this is not how you make plates. Because what I do is I go ahead and flatten my clay all the way, and I'm going to clean this off for you. I flatten my clay all the way out to the edge of my bat, and then that gives me my starting diameter, and then I'll push it back up, and it'll give me my rim. So you'll see. You'll see what I mean. Okay, so here, my outside hand is really controlling this outer edge and keeping it pushed down so it doesn't roll over and attaches to the bat nicely. And then I use my right hand, my top hand, to push it down and spread the clay out. This takes a couple times to do this. Get all this clay to move where I want it to. It may seem like a lot of clay still here, but by the time it's fully spread out, it's only going to be 1/4 to 1/2 inch thick. So for me, that's I like a heavier plate. I think it's a little more robust. Yeah. Really, I am going to go slightly past this outer edge. You can see where there's this step down right here. And go just a little bit past it, and then we use a needle tool to cut off the edge. I guess I'm going to come back to that. Okay. I'll come back when I finish getting this out there. Or at least close, because the pipe piece that I said I'll come back to. Look, look at this little piece of pipe. No, this is just a small piece of like 2-inch, 2.5 inch PVC piping, or ABS piping, if you want to be specific. Rounded the edges a little bit so it doesn't mark up the surface. Add some water. This is fairly common, helpful. Allows you to get nice, even, flat plates. Just like that. Need a little bit further so that I have a nice little edge to trim off. Need to put some water down across the surface. Keep that clay slick. Oh yeah, that's good right there. Need my thicker needle tool. You see that? Because the one I normally throw with is a little thinner, a little more flexible, which for plates, for this, it's not the best thing. That's more for trimming the top of the top rim. This is like a standard needle tool. That one's specifically for trimming clay while throwing. But this one works better for plates, in my opinion. Okay. Actually, I'm gonna do this first. I like a swirl in my plates, very faint. I don't want it to be too big, like too defined, so that it's like annoying when you have food on it. But I like it to be more than just a flat plate. I want it to look a little handmade, have a little touch to it. So just wheel head down. And for this, I go all the way to the rim because I'm going to be cutting that, so it's going to give me a nice even edge. I use a sponge so that my finger doesn't go too far down in there. You can see it there in the video, it's swirling out. Try to flatten it down just a little bit. I just want the faintest hint of a swirl on the plate after it's glazed. Nothing much. Okay. So here, I'm going to take this and I'm going to go right here on the edge, get it up against the back, and trim. And there's the diameter I want for my plate, or at least for right now. Go ahead and wet this outer clay a decent amount. Some of that extra off. Okay. Let me clean my hands up for you real quick, or at least somewhat. Next, I'm going to use this little guy. I 3D printed. It sits flat, gives me the angle that I want on my piece. Has a little height marker so I can keep my rims consistent. Pretty simple stuff. Very easy 3D modeling if you on the computer. If you're looking for stuff to get into, 3D printing your own tools is fun. Allows you to make some cool shapes and stuff. So I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna get it just on top of the bat and I'm gonna push it and it's gonna push the clay up and give me my rim for my plates. There's the start of it. Add a little bit more water. Keep all nice and lubricated. Re-dip that guy. And now I gotta focus on keeping the angle. And just like that, you have a rim on your plate. You could do that with a different tool. You don't need to 3D print your own. I just did it for consistency and to give myself the angle that I wanted on my rims. Just slightly out, so by the time they're done being trimmed and everything, they kind of sit together to be stacked. Oh, wait, keep that back to me. Those little marks are fine, they're fine. They're organic. They show the making process, that's the whole point. I want to show the making process. Okay. Sponge, nice and wet. Go through and around this rim off. Go back in with my tool again so that I can reset the angle. Push the clay out against it. Finishing touch. A shimmy. Just a small piece of leather. Just really helps compress the clay particles on the rim. Makes it nice and smooth. Allows you to get a nice rounded edge, even though I did that with the sponge. I prefer to go over it one more time with the chamois. Now, I'm just gonna go over the surface one more time with my sponge. Just take any extra water off, get a little bit of extra slip, and there you have it. A plate. So simple, so easy. This I don't wire off. I won't wire my plates off because of the bats I use. They're like a wood composite, so that they'll dry and the plate will just release from it. Trying to cut them or wire them off is a little annoying and hard because they're so wide. You gotta be careful of the wire lifting. So yeah. Get all the extra slip off my hands so I can take this off the wheel. Just the standard little tool. I don't even remember what this is called. I've had it for so long. Just slide it under the edge and pop it off. And just like that, you have a plate. So look at that nice faint swirl. Nothing too deep, so it once it's glazed, it'll be mostly flat, but it'll catch the light and show that swirl. So you can see it's handmade. Nice tall rim, but it's not that deep of an actual plate. Keeps some nice weight in the bottom. I'll trim out a lot of it underneath. Time for the next one.